on, struggle. Try your best.
So we have Midnight Gala Lilias preview. So we're going to take a look at her stats, her kit, and hopefully see whether or not she's going to be one of the new units that changes the meta. And so this unit was a unit that comes from a contest winner. And so this is the second unit that Epic 7 has allowed to be created from a contest win. The first was Fairy Tale Tenebria, and so we do have this new Midnight Gala Lilias, which looks amazing. Okay, she looks great, and so this is the third Lilias that we have in game. The first is a knight, is a fire knight. The second is the Moonlight version, which is a warrior, and this new version of Lilias is an Earth Thief. She's also a Libra. She has pretty insane speed, 121 base speed. Her imprint concentration is 18, up to 18% attack if you get the triple S. Now, I'm assuming that you're going to be able to use regular Lilias, so the RGB one, the fire one, to imprint her. So, I mean, you don't necessarily need to go ham with pulling for imprints on her banner, if that's something that you want to do, right? Because it's just attack. It's an attack imprint. It's not like it's speed or crit chance, right? Those are the two most worth it imprints in the game. So, you know, it's not, I don't think super needed, but I mean, it's still 18% attack, right? And she is a thief, so you're going to want her to do quite a bit of damage. And so let's take a look at her skills. Okay, so Midnight Gala's, her skill 2 Elaborate Scheme at the start of the battle and at the end of the turn grants damage limit to the caster for 1 turn. After attacking on the caster's turn, when the target's health is 50% or less, activates now or never. So she has a damage limit, which is new, right? So it's like a new buff to this Gala Lilias. Damage suffered in one attack does not exceed 35% of max health. So it's giving her some survivability, right? So she can't get one-shotted just right away. Now or never can only be activated once every 3 turns. So when the target is 50% or less HP, she's going to activate now or never. Now or never increases the attack of all allies for 2 turns before increasing combat readiness by 10%. And so this is supporting the team, right? So she can't get one-shotted, and if the target's health is 50% or less, she's giving everybody on the team a 2-turn attack buff, which is kind of crazy, right? Because that can be a pretty big deal when you're trying to cleave, right? If you're going first, and if you can go before your Gala Lilias here, and you can bring the enemy down to 50% HP, when she goes, she's going to give everybody attack buff, right? It kind of reminds me of ML Charles, right? Because he does something similar. And so she goes with the S3, right? Or she hits, she hits with the S3. She brings that ML crowd down to like 20% HP. Okay, so she activated herself, and you saw everybody there getting attack buff, which is pretty crazy. So her skill number 3, this increases attack of the caster for 2 turns. So take the lead before attacking the enemy in their blind spot, and increases combat readiness of the caster by 35%. So gives herself attack buff for 2 turns and a CR push of 35%. When the target's max health is greater than the caster's max health, penetrates the target's defense, with penetration rate increasing proportional to the difference up to a maximum of 100%. A successful attack always results in a critical hit. So she's always going to crit, right? As long as she's not blinded. So who does this remind you of, right? Hwa-Young, green Hwa-Young maybe. We're not taking into account Arunka with her shield, but I mean, Can this be potentially broken? Possibly, okay? Possibly. Because if she's anything like Hua Young, she could potentially one-shot very tanky units, right? Big tanks. And so that's kind of the thing. We don't really have something like that for grass units. So we'll see here, right? She gives herself attack buff. She's 7.8k HP, right? We don't know exactly how much HP that Crow has, but she did 26,000 damage to that ML Crow, okay? ML Crows usually are in that 26 to 28,000 HP range. So she's gonna do big damage to those kinds of units, right? Very, very tanky units. And you wanna build her with as little HP as possible so you can take advantage of that gap so you can get the maximum defense penetration damage, right? So I could definitely see like a torrent set working for her. Even the low level torrent helm, right, might be a possibility. I can definitely see unawakened Midnight Gala Lilias, right? If she gets HP from the awakenings, just to take even more advantage than that. But you know, I'm pretty sure it's not going to make that much of a difference. I guess if you really want to min-max. Her skill 1, Go Kyla, she sends some dogs after you, attacks the enemy with Kyla, and recovers HP. So she has an HP recovery skill on the S1. Amount recovered increases proportional to the caster's attack. A successful attack always results in a critical hit. So, you know, do you have to build crit on this unit? It's going to be max speed, 0 HP, max attack, max crit damage. So you can take advantage of her going first. Bringing the enemy team down, at least one unit down below that 50% HP mark, maybe even one-shotting them, right? Depending on the kind of multipliers that she has, bringing them down to give your entire team an attack buff. And then after that, it's just GG, right? If you can kind of chain that combo in. I think the S1 is fine, right? You know, it's not anything too crazy. She's just going to give herself a little bit of HP boost, you know, just in case she takes some chip damage. But I mean, she has that attack buff, right? After she brings them down to that 50% H3 HP threshold, and she's giving herself attack buff on the S3. So you see there, she did about 8k to that ML Landy, which is respectable damage. Especially from a thief that is omega squishy, right? AK on an S1, that's pretty intense. Hostess of the Banquet is her exclusive artifact, and this one increases effect resistance by 40%. This, when attacking, if the target's health is 50% or more, increases damage dealt by 16%. Now, this artifact, if you want to take advantage of the full effect resistance, you're going to need to max it out, right? You're going to need to max limit break this. This is another one of those whale artifacts. But, you know, I think at 15 plus 15 should work fine. I mean, if you get multiple copies of this, this could potentially work on other units. And I kind of mentioned this in the update video. You know, maybe Kayron's artifact of choice now, or any other thief that you want to cheese some effect resistance with can definitely use this artifact. So now building effect resistance on thieves might be viable, right? Like BBK, Kayron, you know, and the list goes on, right? But it's one of those artifacts, like I mentioned, that is going to need some limit breaks. But I mean, I think you'd be fine if you kept them separate. So one thing to keep in mind is that her buffs are strippable. So you do run the risk of, let's say, this Summer Luluka S3ing you, hitting you with a car, and then stripping all of your buffs, which are going to kind of hinder the damage, right? And so that artifact can potentially be used on Midnight Gala Lilias, right? Maybe instead of max damage, you build some effect resistance and then you run that artifact, right? Again, if you fully limit break it, you get up to 40% effect resistance, which is pretty crazy. So, you know, I think she looks pretty good. It's going to be a little, I think, challenging building this unit because she is going to be pretty stat hungry. She's going to need a lot of speed, a lot of attack, a lot of crit damage, and she's also going to need some effect resistance if you plan to play her in the long game, right? Against specific units, right? She does have a non-attack skill, which is going to trigger units like Politis, and it's going to trigger units like Summer Luluka, right? So you have to keep that in mind, and she can potentially get stripped. So you may need to run her with some effect resistance, but we'll see. She is dropping on September 21st. So let me know your thoughts about Midnight Gala Lilias. How many copies are you going to be pulling of her? I'm definitely going to be pulling at least one copy. Hopefully we can get at least one of the artifacts and then see how she plays. Like always, if you haven't enjoyed the video, hit that like button if you haven't subscribed. Hey, think about subscribing. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people like you who like content like this. Like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.